Sign here, and here, initial here, 3 more times right here, and right there, full name here, including your middle name. 1 more time. Okay, and flip the page. Now we got another page full. Why am I talking about pharmaceutical analgesic distribution crisis? Because it's a real problem in the US and we really need to fix it. This was me. My throat was swollen. I had tubes in my sides, in my heart, in my front, everywhere. I had a port in my chest and my throat was closed up because it was filled with cancer cells. And they were asking me to sign papers for 30 minutes so I could receive extra strength Tylenol. Why is this a problem? Why am I sitting here having to fill out all of these forms whenever I'm literally dying of cancer in front of them? The healthcare system has a problem that we really need to solve. Their fear of people becoming addicted to medication is stopping them from actually helping save people with the medication, and we can't have any more deaths due to it. So, before I begin, you're probably wondering, what the heck is an analgesic? Is it something that they serve for dinner at the hospital? Like, what is an analgesic? Well, an analgesic is basically a medication that you use to achieve analgesia. That didn't answer your question, did it? Well, let me break it down a little bit more for you. It's a painkiller. Essentially, when you take Advil, Tylenol, ibuprofen, acetaminophen, all of those medications that help you relieve yourself from your aches and pains, you're taking an analgesic. This can also be the case with an opiate, which is essentially a painkiller or an analgesic, but it's made from opium. The Merriam-Webster dictionary defines it as a drug, such as morphine or codeine, that is made from opium and used to reduce pain or cause sleep. So, we look at the statistics if you look at the statistics, 54% of people have complained of having pain as the reason to why they feel like they have suicidal thoughts. Well, in this study, with I believe it was 2,600 people, 54% of them said that they felt suicidal just because of the pain alone. However, every single person included pain as a reason why they wanted to commit suicide, and sadly, some of the people in this study actually did commit suicide. So, if we look at the chart, the lack of the distribution of analgesics over the course of the last 10 years, we can see that the prices have gone up, but also you look at heroin and it's also gone up. So why is this? If you pay attention to right around 2010, the DEA put in very, very strict regulations on analgesics. And as the regulations were put into play, so did people also decided to turn to the streets and decide to use heroin instead because it's made of the same stuff. You can just find it extremely cheap. The New York Times did a study using John Schiraldi, a former EMT who injured his back during work. And he said that he could go out onto the streets and find heroin for $2 as opposed to the medication that his doctor was making him sign numerous papers on and go through ridiculous background checks and over and over and over again, getting 2 pills a time for $25 each. He found it for less than a quarter of the price. So he eventually turned to street drugs, and then he became a heroin addict, and now he had to go through treatment, which the U.S. wouldn't help him with recovery for. So we see that from 1999, which is just before, to 2014, the increase in suicide rates. Sorry, I'm so sorry. Okay, the increase in suicide from 1999 to 2014 made suicide become the 10th leading cause of death. Okay, this is John Allen Bayer. He was a former logger, and he suffered an injury in the workplace to his back. He slipped a disc, and then it became known that he had a degenerative back disease. So he had to go to the doctor and receive analgesics every single week from the time of his injury all the way up to his eventual suicide on his 47th birthday. His son found him in the backyard with a shotgun blast to the face whenever he was about to throw his surprise party. Cases like this happen all over the United States of America because the U.S. is absolutely afraid to have people addicted. They would rather have people not receive the care that they would need than to have them addicted to a pain medication and stuck on the street. They would rather see them suffer. So after DEA restrictions in 2015, after DEA restrictions in 2015, 27% of patients reported suicidal thoughts and heavily considered suicide. This was a study taken by the LA Times with 1,300 people. If you do the math, 27% of 1,300 is just around 315 people. So out of all of that study, 315 people immediately had thoughts of suicide without even taking into consideration that this was taken just after it was put into place. Over time, that number is sure to grow. Okay. Former nurse practitioner Rachel Tonic spoke to me, who works at Baylor Hospital in Dallas, and she was explaining that the government wants to do whatever it can to make money or a profit off of the people and the medication, as opposed to actually treating a disease. They would rather make sure that they get their own money than take care of the people who are truly stuck without any form of health care. So we need to figure out, how exactly do we stop this from happening? Well, we need to bring awareness through our words. Not necessarily giving out money, not necessarily signing a petition, because there's not really anything that you can do. The DEA is going to do what it wants to do, regardless of what you write to them and send. It comes from bringing awareness to the topic. The DEA doesn't want to look bad, they just want to pass laws and make their money. So if you bring awareness to people around you who don't understand, well, why is it important that I should give this veteran who got his leg blown off an analgesic whenever, everything else is fine, the country's taken care of, there's bigger things to do, and we can just slide on to the next person. It's more important, it's deeper than that. Raising awareness and stomping out ignorance is the #1 way to make a change in this world. Ethan Nadelman says that it's important to help end the war on drugs by simply extinguishing ignorance using your voice and with factual evidence. We cannot afford to lose more lives.